We're live and we're here. Persephone and I are here to have a nice discussion with you about something. I don't know what. Persephone has it all figured out. We're going to get going. And right when I turn it over to her, I just want to remind you that I like money a lot. So if you can be kind enough to, well, no, I'm not going to say kind enough. If you appreciate the content and you think it's worth giving a super chat and super sticker, I would appreciate it. Now we'll go over to Persephone. And
Or becoming a channel member, which has many benefits and many perks for you, but also is a good way of showing your appreciation for all of the hard work and time and effort that goes into creating great content. Also, please don't forget to go follow us on Twitch and go find all three of the shows on Spotify. And if you listen on Spotify, leave a rating because it's very helpful.
And you know what? I didn't have the chance to post this episode, so we maybe have a dearth of listeners.
Well, that's fine. We can have a nice conversation. So I wanted to talk to you about something. It is not necessarily ethics.
Everything's ethics.
Okay, well, I don't see an immediate ethical principle, and I'm just interested in getting your thoughts. So we were talking today.
Hold on 1 second. I want to make a deal with you. Hold on, we can talk about it. What can we offer? If I am able to extrapolate an ethical principle from what you're going to tell me, what can we give the audience? Should there be something special, or do you want to, or what? What do you want to do?
I mean, you're definitely going to be able to.
Okay.
I know you are. So, what can we give the audience? We will.
We'll give them Akira Felix.
We'll box Akira up and send him to a random viewer. No, we will do that special episode of Everyday Ethics where I bring Michael really dumb hypotheticals and he has to engage with all of them.
So for being able to draw out an ethical principle, I get punished. That sounds fair. Okay, so what's the scenario?
Okay, so I was talking to my friend today and we were discussing rage. And she said to me, when there is a situation that is finished, right, and you still have all of this rage about the situation, but the doors are closed, the situation is done, what do you do with all of that rage? So she, in particular, was talking about a long-time friendship of hers that ended in a really catastrophic way. And that door is closed. There is no opportunity to go and speak to this person again. But she is full of rage. Like when you can, it's like the situation is 5 years over, but she's so angry about it and she doesn't know what to do with that anger. And I thought about it and I thought to myself, that happens with me as well. As I think about things that happened years ago and I've still got all of this anger and there's nowhere to put it, there's nowhere to direct it to, and there's no way to just make it go away. So what do you do in that situation?
Okay, so what do you do with it? Like, I don't even know what that means. What do you do with it? What could you do with it anyway? You can't throw it out. I mean, so
well, I mean,
first off, let's just discuss the ethical principle. This is so easy. Like, I don't even want to say it. We're talking, the whole show is about an ethic of egoism, of what's in your own interest. You're harboring rage and anger that's disturbing your own peace and well-being. Of course, that's not in your interest. So, of course, it's not. It's the ethical thing to do would be to dispel that rage and anger. There's this idea that we have to have closure for everything. Everybody has to have closure. Sometimes you don't get closure, and that's all there is to it. There's also malady that a lot of people suffer from. I do sometimes as well. not as often as people that I come across, but nevertheless, is that you feel like you have to have people understand your point of view. You have to have your mom. Let's say you have a mother that is not a good, wasn't a good mom. Let's say your mom was abusive, verbally abusive, not in the sense of you jerk or but just make slights, like some, you see like mothers on TV do like, you're going to wear that and, maybe you've been eating a little too much or, stuff like that. Haven't you been sleeping enough? Let's say your mother's done that to you your entire life, right? Your mother, though, thinks that she's been Mother of the Year every year of your existence. So she'll say things like, I always raised you right. I don't know why, how this happened. Or, if you get in trouble, you end up in an abusive relationship, whatever. Your mom said, well, I didn't teach you that. And you say you have low self-esteem, but I have no idea why. So that's your mom. And there's this idea that your mother has to get it. Your mom may never get it. There might be a block there. She just may be totally evading everything. I get it. You want people to know, no, you did me wrong. But sometimes you just can't get it through. Or sometimes people think they're good people and they're not. And they're not. And you want them to know they're not good people. I used to go through this with Melissa a lot, my girlfriend Melissa. And she would be online and she would say, these people, they all think they're good people and they're just not. And I want them to know they're not. And I'm like, but they're not going to know it. They're not going to recognize it. What they recognize is irrelevant to your existence. It doesn't matter. Just don't talk to them, stay away from them, and then you're fine. Because they're just never going to get it. So what can you do if you've got this relationship? I'm assuming maybe this person died. I don't know what happened in this scenario. But I'm very angry at something somebody's done to me. I've expressed my, I've been assertive. But, there's also this idea that being assertive means you get your way. No. Sometimes the person just says right there, I don't care about your stupid feelings or whatever else they're going to say. But you still, you tell people what you want and what you expect in your relationships. And then you have to come to terms with it yourself. You have to deal with it. You tell yourself, first of all, this isn't healthy. Secondly, why do I need to have this person see my point of view? What harm does it really do me if this person's walking around with these dumb thoughts in their head? Or if this person thinks they're great? Who gives a shit? I don't need that person in my life, and I'm only harming myself by holding on to this. So that's what you have to do. You just have to continually reframe it. Now, not knowing the particulars, it makes it a little bit more difficult. But nevertheless, I know that there's no rational reason to hold on to rage to that degree.
No, let me give you more of the particulars just so that you have more of an understanding. So they were friends for most of their life. Yeah. So we're in our mid-30s and they were friends from when they were about 3 years old. And the other friend was selfish in the bad way, thoughtless, tactless. She wasn't a good friend. She was not only harming other people, she was harming herself.
Okay, can you hold it right there for a second? But don't lose the thought. Write it down if you have to. Mm-hmm. Okay. First thing, take responsibility, right? If you had a friend that was like that and continued to have that friend in your life, that's on you, right? You chose to keep that person in your life. I grew up with people that are like that, and I keep them. I'm not hanging around with them every day. I'm not talking to them on the telephone. I'm just not doing it. So you have to, first off, own it. It's your responsibility. You are not the victim. Stop thinking of yourself as the victim of this person because you're just not. The first time, sure. But if you keep this person in your life, no. It's on you. Okay, now go ahead.
Okay, so not only harming other people with the thoughtless, tactless behavior, but also harming herself, right? She was like made herself unhealthy. She was abusing prescription medication. She was in a bad relationship. She made everything else, she made all her problems everybody else's problems. And so this went on for a long time, years. And eventually it got to a point where I had said to her, you need to stop allowing this person into your life. They're not bringing any value to you. All they're doing is causing you pain. You're holding on to a memory of like a friendship that you had when you were 5. But this person has proved to you over and over and over again that they don't give a shit about you. They don't care what you want. They don't care what hurts you. You get no value out of this relationship. You're holding on to it for what? So this took about 3 or 4 years to convince her finally to sit down and tell this person that she couldn't do it anymore. The friendship was like they couldn't talk anymore. She was done. And the friend said, basically threw up her hands and said, okay, well, if that's how you feel, then whatever. And so she cut the friendship off. The friend is still alive, but never understood where she was coming from. She kind of just went, oh, well, it's not my fault you feel like that. So that pissed her off, which, like, I get, because I also get really frustrated when I'm trying to tell you something and you don't understand where I'm coming from. That irritates me.
Yeah, but sometimes you can't make somebody understand. And to obsess about it and get angry about it is just a waste of time and effort. If the person's like, well, that's not, that's you. Sometimes people, let me tell you a story about a cellmate I had, right? I'm going to have to give you a little bit of prison talk so you understand. So sink cleaning is very big in prison. You have the sink, it's attached to a toilet, it's stainless steel. Guys like to polish it up. There's, like contests to see who has the shiniest toilet, shiniest sink. Guys will hang a rag off the side of the sink, and whenever you're done using the sink, they want you to take the rag and wipe the sink out. Now, half a brain will tell you that that's idiotic because I'm going to wash the filth off of my hands, take the rag, wipe the sink, hang it up, and then the next time I wash my hands and they're clean, I'm going to grab the dirty rag, rinse and repeat over and over again. So I moved in with this guy and I said, listen, I'm just telling you now, one thing I will not do is wipe that sink out every time I use it. I'm not doing that. Forget it. All right. So we're cellmates. This guy doesn't really clean the cell. I don't care. If I want it clean, I'll clean it. So I did. I cleaned it every day. One day I shaved, and when I would shave, I would clean that up. You know what I mean? Because there's hair everywhere, wipe it up. But one day I missed a little bit of hair somewhere. And instead of just saying, hey, dude, you missed hair, he says, yeah, remember you said you're not going to wipe the sink? Yeah, well, we're going to change that, and you're going to wipe it. I said, no, I'm not. You can forget it. I'm not doing that. And so he then, basically he's like, oh, about how it's dirty and this and that. Now he's telling me it's dirty that there's hair on the sink. So I said to him, look, I said, I clean the cell every day. You don't clean it. He then says, I can't believe you'd throw that in my face. You just called me up here to point out a little bit of hair on the sink, and now you're telling me I'm throwing this in your face. So but then I told him I'm not doing that with the rag because it's disgusting, and I'm not getting that on my hands. He then tells me, dude, don't be such a germaphobe. Right? When that is somebody's mentality, what do you think you're going to convince him of?
Yeah.
What could you ever? The guy is totally not self-aware, right? Doesn't understand. Like, he's the victim of everything. He's the victim first that I didn't clean up the mess. He's the victim that I threw it in his face. He's the victim that I'm the germaphobe. He doesn't understand that he initiated the whole problem. that he started talking to me about this rather than just knocking the hair off the sink, which is what I would have done. I wouldn't give a shit. I just clean it up. It's not a big deal. But that's what you have. I mean, maybe that's where I learned to deal with this is in prison, because there's so many people that are just irrational. It just doesn't matter. You can make the most logical case. They don't get it. And if your friend's friend is not going to get it, you can't make her. So you just move on and learn to let it go.
Yeah. But this is the thing. So, first of all, Megan says, does the rage come from something you need that you aren't given? Is there a way to give yourself that visibility?
Okay, so I don't... Here's the problem. I'm huge on individual responsibility. Huge. Right? So, like I don't like the framing. Oh, what do I need that I'm not getting? It's why I would frame it this way. And it's not that it's wrong. I think that it's more empowering to say, what am I doing that's causing this? What am I doing that's contributing to this situation? So the first part was what you're doing is being friends with an asshole, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing. Now, what am I doing? Well, I keep thinking about this. Why? Why are you focusing on it? What is it that you want to gain out of this? Now, I've hypothesized that you want the other person to get your position, but that might not be it. But let's just say it is. Let's say, okay, why do you feel that you or think that you have the need to always make everybody see your point? You trace it. You figure out, why is this going on? Why am I doing this? What are you contributing in terms of the way that you're thinking about it? What is a more rational way to look at it? What are the facts? The fact is, you can't make everybody see your point of view. And even if they don't, who cares? If they're not in your life, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it once occurred to me, when I used to be so obsessive about what people think about me, is I have all kinds of thoughts about people, and it doesn't affect them one bit. They don't even know I'm thinking it. So what the hell so my thoughts have no power over them. Why am I giving their thoughts power over me? Like, I was walking with Diana the other day. So sometimes, when I'm driving, I joke about people. I make fun of them. It's nothing malicious. It's just funny. Oh my God, look at this guy. What the hell is he doing? And so Diana says to me, yeah, oh my God, and you want to walk around. That's what people are saying about us when we're walking. And I said, yeah, and who cares? It doesn't affect us any more than what we're talking about is affecting them.
My mother is a huge fan of saying, if I go out of the house looking in a way that she doesn't approve of, she will hit me with, well, what are they going to think? And I'm like, who the fuck are they?
And who cares?
What does it matter? I'm never going to see any of these people again. I don't care what they think. It has no effect on me. Effect. It has no effect on me. And that was like a big thing for me as I got older, is to realize, number one, it doesn't matter what a random person on the street thinks of me. And number two, they're probably not paying attention to me. It's very narcissistic to think that everybody is thinking about you in their spare time.
Yes. And it doesn't matter if they are. And so in this case, like you're trying to impact the thoughts of somebody else, and then you're obsessing that you can't. But you have to accept what you can't change. That's the first step. But then, just realize that person's thoughts mean nothing. They mean nothing.
This situation was also one of those cases where there was no good solution. We spoke about that the other day.
No, there is a good solution. You get the person out of your life. That's the good solution.
I mean, yes, that is the good solution, but it's not the one that makes it. It's not sunshine and rainbows, is what I mean.
No, but it's the good solution. Why does it have to be sunshine and rainbows? Who says that? I mean, who?
Because you want a situation to resolve in such a way that it doesn't suck.
Right, but your wants are irrelevant.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. And I mean, I'm not saying your wants as a human are irrelevant. I'm saying your irrational wants don't put demands on realities. Right?
No,
It doesn't
true.
alter things. This is a big thing. When we do our crime show, that criminals have a hard time separating wants from needs. Right? And you don't need to have people like you. You just don't. And not everyone's going to like you. It's never going to happen.
It's really hard for me to swallow, like, that you can't make people understand your point of view.
I know.
That's a hard one for me. I need people, especially if someone has done something that upsets me, I need them to understand exactly why. I don't need it. I really want it, and it really bugs me when they don't. But anyway, so in this discussion that we were having, me and my friend, I essentially said to her, you can have all of this, like, you can have this rage, but you're only feeding it by thinking about it. By constantly going over, like, how she wronged you and what you could have said, and if there was a world in which you could send her a message and she would understand, and thinking about that constantly. It's like having a sore tooth and, like, constantly fucking with it with your tongue. You're not doing yourself any favors by just constantly going over it in your mind and giving. So in Crime Corrections and Culture, where we're reading Inside the Criminal Mind, he talks about how for a criminal, ventilating anger just makes it is not good, kind of makes it worse. And I feel like it's the same thing, or it's a similar thing. Giving that anger, like, space to exist and saying, well, you know, I'm angry, and this is why I'm angry, and this is why I'm justified in feeling angry, and explaining to people why you're angry. By doing that, you just make the anger last even longer. Because there's no point to it. Nothing is going to happen. It's pointless. It has no, like, you can't do anything with it. So just stop thinking about it. Yeah. But that's difficult, because anger is one of those things where you want justice. You know, that's what she wants. She wants justice. She wants that person to understand. I'm like, it's never going to happen. Just stop thinking about it. Which is easy to say, but very difficult to put into practice.
Akira says life is not sunshine and rainbows. Akira's correct.
You know, life is not sunshine and rainbows, but I think if you spend a lot of time thinking about how not full of sunshine and rainbows life becomes a lot more miserable.
No, yeah, but life just is, right? So Megan says, I think anxiety and sadness can be hard to let go, too. Yeah, yes, they are, if you're thinking of it in terms of letting it go. Like, that's what you do. Just let it go. No, it's a largely has to do with self-talk, with the way that we view the world, with how we interpret situations. And sometimes, you know what, it's appropriate to be sad and anxious. You know, but when it's, and that's another thing, is recognizing when it's appropriate and when it isn't appropriate.
Yeah, there's a line between feeling something rationally and wallowing. You can be sad, or you can be anxious, or you can be angry about certain things, and that's okay. You don't slap a band-aid on a bullet. You don't slap a smiley face band-aid on a bullet wound by pretending everything is fine all the time. But you also don't let it consume you.
Yes. I've got my own aggravation that just hit me right now, so I have to kind of process the aggravation that I just experienced. But it'll be over in a second.
Oh, you see, but I'm nosy, and now I want to know what it was.
No.
I said I'm nosy.
Akira
Um,
says that explaining to yourself is overrated. Most of the time, it makes zero difference. They still call you an Iran supporter at the end of the day. Well, yeah, I mean, ultimately, Akira, but there's people out there that are rational, and you have to, you have to be able to learn who they are and what they are. I don't know. I don't smoke cigarettes, right? I've never been a cigarette smoker. I've smoked a cigarette. I've just never been a cigarette smoker. And I often think about this because all my parents smoked, all my friends smoked. I didn't, never picked it up. And I think, yeah, I knew I didn't want to smoke cigarettes, but why? Like, I think, why didn't I pick up smoking cigarettes? Because I did everything else. So it's not like I can say, well, I didn't do cigarettes because I knew how bad they were while I'm taking pills, throwing down shots of vodka. You know what I mean? So, and I'm getting at is that I'm not the kind of person that won't listen to facts, that won't listen to the other person's point of view, that won't listen to good arguments. I'm not a person like I constantly look inward at myself. What am I thinking? What am I doing? How am I impacting other people? If it's a bad situation, what did I do to contribute to this situation? And so I don't really get people that don't do that, but there's people that don't. And my point in the cigarettes is, why did I end up doing this? Well, I chose to, and I chose to because I wanted to, but that's who I am. And I don't get it when people aren't that way, but a lot of people aren't, and you can't make them, what you want them to be.
so I'm so excited for the show that we're about to do right after this, which is crime corrections and culture. Um, because I have so many questions to ask you that relate to this very topic. Um, but you say it's who you are to look inside and analyze all your thoughts, etc., etc. But we're reading Inside the Criminal Mind now, where Samanow and Yokelson, that's their whole thing, right? Look at all of your thoughts so that you can start to identify patterns, which is something that you did. Yes?
Yes.
Okay, so that was something that you trained yourself to do. When I was reading about this, I was like, wow, this sounds awful. I don't think that I could identify my thoughts on a day-to-day basis. My brain just, it goes without, So I was thinking about that. And for the average person, I don't think many people are analyzing their thoughts.
No, I think a lot of people just accept what comes in their heads as fact. Like
Not
the thought
even.
comes in their head. Like I like the example. I was driving with Subby one day, and I was on my phone, and he hit a bump, and it disturbed me, and I got mad at him. My initial thought was to be aggravated with him. And then I said, wait a second. Well, he's just driving the car. Like, it's, that happens. You hit bumps. He didn't do it on purpose. He didn't do anything wrong. That's just part of driving. I'm the guy that's on the phone while he's driving. I think there's people that when they get that initial thought, they just accept it as that's it.
Didn't you either say or think, I hate it when he does this? That specific example. I'm
I
pretty
may
sure that
have. Yeah,
I'm
I
pretty
probably
sure
did.
that you said that.
No, that was
So,
a different time. I said that I hate when he does this. That was a different thing.
oh,
That's
well,
when he called me while I was driving.
oh, which is somehow even worse.
Yes.
So the other thing that we talk about in crime corrections and culture, and I think it's another issue, is that when you talk about the criminal thinking errors, you talk about the fact that none of them are necessarily explicit thoughts. And I think that's another issue, is that people have a lot of thoughts that aren't necessarily explicit, right? They think around an idea, but it's not it's not explicit in their mind, so they don't catch it. They're not thinking everyone wrongs me, woe is me. They're thinking, oh, shit like this always happens to me, and they don't catch it. And if you catch these weird little thoughts and you start to trace them back, then you can see what the actual like what you're actually thinking. And this is something that I've started doing, or I started doing a while ago, is when I think like thoughts like that, I stop and I go, is that actually true? And then I realize it's most of the time.
Oh, Persephone froze up.
Again, always. Am I back?
You are back, but we are
And
out
we
of
have to go.
time. We have to go. Thank you, Persephone, and thank you, audience, for joining us. If you've joined us from X, this is the Rational Alternative YouTube channel. We've got a lot of shows. You should check them out. We are going to be back here in about 15 minutes doing crime, corrections, and culture. I hope you all will join us. Thank you so much. And until then, be ethical.